Hello, my name is Matthew Lefebvre and this is Blue Rim Design. Thank you for watching. Today we're going to be going over the rest of the mobile navigation. So we're actually going to be finishing this series on how to create a mobile first navigation, mobile responsive navigation. At the end of last video, I explained how that video was going to be a little bit longer and we were going to be styling the links inside of the navigation menu. After saying this, I immediately forgot. So in order to um, finish out that video, we're actually going to quickly style the links and their behaviors today in this video, and then we're going to finish off the rest of this component for now. So I've actually done a lot of the CSS work that needed for this video, about half of it, so I won't spend as much time having to code in front of you guys. I will instead be able to explain that code more in depth to help you guys get a view of how to style it. So what we've got right now, as you can see here in CodePen, is the pen we were working on before. We have this behavior where on a mobile-sized screen we have a drop-down menu, the hamburger icon and everything. We're going to go ahead and look at the styles that we needed to create this behavior, the hovering effect, the font styling for the links, and the color and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and focus over here on our CSS, and we're going to find the nav link. And these links are inside of list items that make up our navigation. We have a list and the list items, and inside of each list item, like I said, there's a link. And we're actually styling the links inside of these list items instead of the list items themselves. We do this because we want our links to cover as much area as they can. We want them so that they're easily clickable. If someone's using their finger to navigate the website and they need to click on the hamburger button and then on to a link, we want that link to be big enough to respond to their touch in case they're not very accurate or it's hard for them to touch mobile device screens, specific buttons. So we're styling the links inside, and as you'll notice, we gave our link a display of block. This means that it's going to take up as much space as it can. It's not an inline level element. An inline level element is just going to shrink to the size of its content, and like I explained earlier, we don't want people to have to press very small boxes of information, and risk maybe missing it or causing them frustration. We want to think about them, how big the box is going to be, how well they're going to be able to punch it. And we gave it a padding of 0.5 ems just to give it some extra space. And we're taking off the text decoration from the links so that people aren't going to know necessarily that they're links. So they just know that they're navigational items, and we didn't want that default styling of a link to be there. So that is all review from the last video. Now we have applied a new font called sans serif. It is a non-serif font, which means it does not have the little shapes or curves that come off of letters like Times New Roman and other serif fonts. They're just very straight, edgy letters, and that's kind of what we're going with on this navigation / header design. You can do your own thing if you have more of a serif-y / custom font for your navigation. You can go ahead and incorporate that into your styling. So that's kind of superficial, but you can use it. We've given it a font weight of 500 just to pop out a little bit more, make it a little bit more bold. And as you can see, we've also increased the size to 1.5 em, so it's a little easier to see, a little bit larger. We've given it a light coloring using our CSS variable, light. We can go up and check on that variable. This is the X color that we're pulling from and incorporating that variable in there. And we're setting the alignment of the text to center. We're also giving it a transition for the background, so when we do hover it, it's going to turn to the aqua color, and that's, as you can see, it has a 250 millisecond hover effect on there. And I like the coloring. I just picked up this color scheme off of a color scheme site, so like Adobe Colors, that kind of thing. You can find lots of cool color schemes there. And now to just continue here, we want the behavior of our navigation to be different. We want it so that as our screen grows and get more into tablet size navigation, or it could also work for a desktop style navigation, we want this menu to pull off to the right side and kind of become its own thing again. We're staying with kind of a mobile first idea, but instead of dropping down from the top, we wanted to slide out from the right to left, right? So let's go and just look at what needed to be changed in order for this to happen. And lucky for us, it's actually very simple what changed. All we had to do was come to the class that we apply when we click the hamburger button using our JavaScript. I'll go over that first real quick. You'll notice that here that when we click our button here, we're going to toggle a class called navOpen. That's the class that we want to change here. So once we find that, not nav button, menu button open. We want nav open. Here it is. We want to change this from just being a height of 300, because that's what it was originally, to using something called an include. So just to go over this really quickly, Sass has a function called a mixin, and it basically fulfills the role of a function, and you can kind of describe inside of this mixin what you want to apply conditionally, or how you want to manipulate an element. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this mixin that I'm incorporating right here, and it is a mixin I've created called it's just a breakpoint mixin. Basically what it does is it accepts a parameter, BP, standing for breakpoint, and it's going to apply a media query to the element that it is this mixin is applied to. And whatever we put inside of this mixin, it's going to apply those styles conditionally for this media query. I'm going to illustrate this a little more in depth, but it is a very useful feature, and you can use it throughout your styling as you use Sass to style websites. So it makes things a lot easier. So a mixin has you activate it by, instead of doing @mixin, @include. That @include includes that mixin into this selector and applies the styles inside of it. So as you can see, we have our breakpoint mixin called with @include. We're setting it in a parameter that is a Sass variable that we've created called breakpoint01. We can go up and look at that. And as you can see, it's 800 pixels. So it's applying this media query at 800 pixels, and instead of giving it a height of just 300, we're giving it the height of the whole viewport. It's 100% the viewport height of the viewport. And we're giving it a width of 300. So now instead of dropping from the top to the bottom, it's actually going to slide out from right to left. But to do this, we also needed to change some things with how our navigation acted. So on with the same breakpoint at that 800 pixel mark, we're going to change the width of the navigation. Instead of being the default 100% block level element, to 0, and instead give it a height of 100 viewport height. So you can kind of see how the navOpen / close is going to react. And we actually might not even need the viewport height on the open class, now that I come to think about it. Still learning things. So theoretically, now that we have a width of none, we're going to go from right to left and expand this navigation. Okay, obviously it looks like I did need a height of 100% viewport, so I am just going to change that back. There we go. So instead of having 0 height, we're actually giving it height, but we're not giving it any width, which kind of shows to the user, hey, we're still pulling from nothing. It almost looks like it's just expanding from the right or top side of the viewport. And when I say viewport, I mean their device screen. So that's what we can understand now from using a mobile navigation menu, how to maintain a mobile navigation even through to tablet and desktop size screens. So you've probably seen a few modern websites nowadays that use this style of navigation where they're just pulling from the left or right side. It's just a menu, and they're really able to focus on the content of their landing page. So hope you enjoyed this video and you gained some insights on it. And please, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, or if you're viewing this from the blog, you're free to use the website email and email questions about this. Included in the blog, there is also a visual representation of this pen on CodePen that you can use to get to CodePen and play around with it. I encourage you to do that, and if you enjoyed the video, please like it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.